Hi and welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to be giving you a quick tutorial on how to do a proper hip hinge movement. And again, it's one of those movements that if you can get really good at it, you can lead it into doing exercises such as Romanian deadlifts, going into full deadlifts, and as you're doing it you know that you're keeping your back and your spine quite healthy as you do it. So the quick setup is stand nice and tall. And you want a slight bend in the knees, so think kind of soft knees. And there's a couple of ways you can teach this to people. So for one way that's really good and gives you a little bit of biofeedback is put your hand in your lower back. Now from here, think about kind of extending your lower back and arching it, and you can feel that pressure change on your hand. Likewise, start rounding your spine and you can feel again that pressure change on your back, on your hand. So as you're doing this movement, you don't want to feel the pressure change, so you want your spine to keep in a neutral position. So from here, slight bend in the knees, and you want to think about pushing your hips back, so like they're trying to reach a wall behind you, and as you're doing that, you're bending at the waist. You're just coming down as far as you can until you feel a pressure change in your hand. So if you start to feel that pressure change, that's the point at which you stop the exercise. From there, just want to drive your feet through the floor, squeeze the butt muscles, come up nice and tall. So again, driving the hips back, keeping that spine nice and straight, and then coming up nice and tall. So a couple of additional tips you can then do once you've mastered this and before you go on to lift some weights. In this position, think about bracing the abdominal muscles. So like someone's going to punch you in the stomach, that brace. And then from there, squeeze the butt muscles, and again keep that nice and tight throughout the movement, driving the hips straight back and then coming up nice and tall. So it's called a hip hinge because you're moving from the hips. Don't mistake that for a squat movement where you're bending at the knees and coming down. So what I see a lot of people do is they get so far and then they'll start bending the knees. So you want to keep the soft knees, but you don't really want to bend too much through them after that. It's all coming from the hips. And if you haven't done this exercise before, you'll probably feel one hell of a stretch coming down the hamstrings at the back of the legs. So that's how to do a hip hinge movement.